Hey everyone, Blake LaGrange here from mastering.com, and I've partnered with Access Analog to give you this brief tutorial on how to use the Louder Than Liftoff Silver Bullet, or LTL Silver Bullet. So this unit right here is very interesting. Basically, it is an analog emulation machine. So it tries to emulate the American and British consoles with different signal flow and harmonic distortion and all of that fun stuff. And it also has a built-in sort of old-style EQ. So we're going to explore all of that right now. And the best way to understand this is thinking of this like a signal chain. So before I explain that, let's just take a listen to the song that we're going to use on. We're going to basically use this as a stereo bus, not a compressor, a stereo bus unit. So this is a very digital sounding mix because everything mostly was in the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to sweeten it up with this Silver Bullet and adding some analog emulation through different saturation with the different elements of this unit here. So think of it this way. Think of the audio signal coming in here, going out here, and then coming out this way. So it's a flow. Basically what you have here is you have this right here, which is the A section, and then the N section. So think of this as like American and British. And they are different like tone amp settings that you can use. So the way that you select them is you either have A or N, or you can use both A and N, or you can use N and then A. So let's just select A. If you click this Mojo button, that is what engages it. So now we have A selected. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this as in and then out. So if we do in all the way up, it'll distort, and then we can bring out down and level match, or we can do the opposite. We can bring gain all the way down and out up, and that will give us a more transparent sounding sound. So let's just listen to that at 12 o'clock and start dialing this in. So this is distorted. Probably not the best use for this song. So we're going to bring it back and then gain match it up. We can level match it here. And then width. Add a little bit more saturation. And out. Width. So that's a very, very subtle perceived loudness that we have here, really taming the transients. So then we can also go to N, which is this one. Let's do the same sort of emulation here. Width, without, width. We can select between the two, A or N. I think I like N for this one. Very, very subtle, but where you really hear it is when you combine them. So A and N. So now what we have here is the signal going in here, coming out here, going in here, coming out here. So it's gain staging. So we have to think of this like a guitar pedal signal chain, or guitar amp as well is a good analogy for this. But we have basically volume, 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 and we have to really use this with some good fine-tuned ears. So let's just hear what it sounds like now. Let's bring this down a bit. Try to level match it. Without. With. So really, really beautiful harmonic sounding, transparent sounding, compression, saturation, whatever you want to call it. It's just very, very sweet sounding. So another cool thing you could do is now you could take the output of the A, let's just crank that up, and bring it into this one. So let's see what it sounds like. So notice it didn't change the volume much because it's going into this right here, but it changes the character a little bit. maybe we can.
I'll show them and
There
they'll
we go.
see. I'll show the world I'm not insane.
What's
I'll
out?
show the world that they've been
With?
wrong all along. I'll show them and
Very
they'll
beautiful
see.
sounding. Now, the next section we have after we have this gain staging is we have tight and tone. Tight gives a nice like 40 hertz sort of boost down low, and it also does a little bit to the high end. And basically what it does is it gives it a nice kind of console sounding EQ, just an overall EQ, and it's very subtle, but listen to it.
I'll show the world I'm not insane. I'll show the world that they've been wrong all along.
Out.
I'll show them and they'll see. I'll show.
So you can hear that boost right around 40-ish hertz, and then it takes off everything below 20. It's like a very tape sounding kind of button here. And then we have tone, which engages this EQ section. So this is kind of a Pultec style EQ. We have low and high. And low, we can either boost or cut. High, we can boost or cut. And then we have bass, like in the 100, 200 range. And then we have sub, more like the 440 to 60, 80 range. And then we have air, which is very, very high. And then presence, which is kind of the high mids. We can select which one we want. So say we want more sub. We leave it out like this.
I'll show the world I'm not insane.
There it is. Or more bass, we can click it in.
Kind
of like that. Let's bring it back. Let's try adding some more air.
And
more presence. I like air.
Let's
try to gain match this too. We're going to bring this down. Before. With. And then there's also the vintage button here, which you guessed it, gives a vintage sound. It basically, it changes the high frequency response to emulate like a vintagey kind of British console. Out. With.
I'm not insane. I'll show the world that they've been wrong all along.
Without.
I'll show them and they'll
With.
see.
What a beautiful, transparent sounding, awesome harmonic box here that we have with all these tone amps. So I did it kind of a conservative way, but you can really push it, get some nice distorted sounding stuff if you're doing something heavier like metal or rock or whatever that may be. But this is now available to you through Access Analog.